So today I've taped my paper like I have before. I showed this on a previous video. And I'm just playing with distress inks. I want to try and get some interesting backgrounds going, and I'm kind of in a fall mood. So I'm going to try some distress ink today. I'm going to start with my lightest color, and I'm going to just rub my brayer over it so that it's nice and juicy, and just kind of go over my paper like this. And I probably need a little more ink, so I'll go over that some more. That looks nice. I'll just rub off my brayer on the side here. I'm using reds and yellows and oranges, so I'm not too concerned about cross-contamination as long as I get most of the ink off of the brayer before I switch. I'm also going from light colors to dark colors so that I also won't need to worry about that too much. Got a nice juicy brayer there with the, this is spiced marmalade now. And I'm just gonna go over those colors. I'm trying to kind of overlap them and blend them just a little bit so that they look nice. And do a little more orange there. Oh, and that's a nice color. I like that color a lot on this paper. I'm going to switch to some fired brick to finish off. And we'll put that in there, and that's nice and bold. I like that one quite a lot. So you can see there I have a nice kind of gradation of color, and I think that will be a nice background to play with. Now I'm going to switch to using the Ink Essentials little foam pad thing here. It's got a little bit of Velcro here, and I'm just going to use these little ink pads, felt pads that came with it. I use these, I just use one for each color. And this is sort of the, if you've watched Tim Holtz do any work with distress inks, he almost always uses this. But I thought it would be fun to also just sort of put on some color using these applicators. I'm going to switch applicators when I switch colors, so I don't need to worry about contaminating my ink pads at all using this method, which is also quite nice. I'm going to switch to the spiced marmalade. The yellow I think is actually mustard seed. And here I don't need to be too concerned about covering the fair squares up because I'm not really that messy. I don't go that crazy. And that's actually, I think, doing an even better job of really laying the color on there. I'm quite pleased with that. And I think I'll finish off with a little bit of fired brick, just to throw in a third color. Maybe just more on the edges and the outside, since that's sort of our darkest color. So now I have my backgrounds here with the different colors on them, and I want to play. I've never done this before. I really don't know how this is going to turn out. What I want to do is see how these different backgrounds react to different things. So one of the things that I know distress inks will do is react with water. So what I'd like to do is spritz them with water, but I don't want to spritz all four of them with water because I want to kind of study how they work a little differently here with some different things. So I'm going to cover these bottom squares up then just with some copy paper, and I just have a little misting bottle of water, and I just want to spray that on there and see how the color, I can see the color moving just a little bit, creating some little spots here and there. I'm maybe gonna do just a little bit more. Now something else I want to try is to use some stamps and water. And so what I've done here is I have a paper towel that I've just dampened with water. You can see the water probably oozing out just a little bit. But I'm going to take the stamp and just kind of dampen it up. And I thought this might be a little neater than doing misting on the stamp. You could do misting as well. But I can see some beads of water on there, and I want to just try stamping that onto my background. And I can see that leaf shape kind of showing up. Now I'm going for a background effect here. I'm not trying to make these into some sort of artwork themselves. It's just going to be the background image for something else that I want to do on top of this. So I'm going to do that again. And this is, it's got a lot of detail in it, but it's almost basically a solid image. I'm just going to switch and see if I get a different effect with a different stamp. Obviously want different shapes as well and sizes. And I'm kind of cleaning it off on the one side of my paper towel and then just lightly tapping it in water on the other side. So now that I have this sort of really soft background, it's very bright in color, but all the modeling is pretty soft. And you can see that on the sponged background, it's really a much stronger effect than on the brayered background. I couldn't tell you why, but that's the way it is. But I think what I really want to do, I want to contrast this soft background with something a little harder. So I'm going to use this Club Scrap India ink pad here, which is a very nice dark black, with the same stamped image. And here I don't want any black ink going where I don't want it, so I am going to cover my things up here. And I'm going to stamp this leaf image in black. And as I'm doing this, this is reminding me of sort of leaves falling. So I was going to originally do leaves all over, but I kind of like this idea of the leaf falling down the page. So I think I'm going to leave it like that. So I really liked how the foam applicator put the ink on. And I think what I want to do to finish this, to really emphasize this white line effect that I'm going to get around these images, is I'm going to use vintage photo ink and my foam applicator to just do a little bit of a border around the edges. And I'm sort of tilting the applicator up a little because I don't want to have this ink color several inches into the image. I just want it on the edges. So I'm going to just sweep that on to create just a little bit of darkening around the edges. So finally I'm going to remove the tape, and in this case I could reuse this tape again, so I'm going to just sort of peel it off very carefully. Again, if you're using a tape that's a little tackier, you'll want to remove some tack before you put it on. I do notice that when I put this tape on this white paper, which is just a copy paper, that it does actually pull up more of the paper. On the cardstock, it's very easy. It doesn't stick at all. So I hope you play with your inks and paper, and I hope you share what you create. I'd love to see what you make, and I'll be sharing the cards that I make from these panels a little later with you too. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.